I am sure sports. You know me there, from coast to coast representing. I mean, say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get the sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me no know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you are gonna love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crapper players. We are good enough. Remember, like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment, let me know what your thoughts are.
Trick Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Made up of 18 Jamaican herbs and spices. Add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
All right. Greetings and good morning. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports. I'm your host, Man, and it is indeed my great pleasure to have you with me this morning as we do one of our other untold stories. Want to welcome you to the forum. If this is your first time, as usual, we want to ask you to hit the like button, subscribe to the platform, and also share the content with someone. Let them know what we are about and what we are doing so they can join this wonderful network that we have. There are other ways you can support the platform, right? You can also support the platform by doing super chats and super stickers if you live outside of Jamaica. That platform is not available in Jamaica, that you're not able to do that. So persons outside of Jamaica can do super chats and super stickers. That's a way of highlighting your comment and have them up on our screen during our interviews and our shows. We also have merchandise available for sale, t-shirts that are going rapidly, and we will put up a number that you can call if you so desire. Those that are in Jamaica are all finished. We only have available in the United States. 22 we did for the United States market, and they are running out quickly. So if you want I Am Sure sports shirt, we have white and we have black. You look good, you will see them. You can get one. Very nicely designed and put together. Special edition shirts. A big thank you also to our sponsors. The sponsors of this video are Launch Legacy, where they handle risk and seek legacy for all your personal insurance needs in Canada and the USA. Visit them at launchlegacy.com or call or text them at 647-989-0782. Visit Launch Legacy. They will help you to make your money work for you. Also, Prestige Finance, lending a helping hand when you need it the most. Call them at 876-884-7390. Prestige Finance. They are lending up to 100,000 Jamaican dollars. No, watch this. This is awesome. No processing fee, same day processing. And if you let them know that you heard about them from I Am Sure Sports, here is the good news, people. You will, only pay 0 to 4% interest rate. Believe me, you can't beat that anywhere. So that's the number. If you want a I Am Sure Sports shirt, you call 1-954-639-2991. This morning, I have someone with us. You may not know the name. This is the thing, right? But this player played for the Minnesota Thunder in the United States, and one of the first Jamaicans, I believe, to play in the Austrian top flight or the top leagues over there in Austria. He didn't have a stellar career in Jamaica, but still managed to make his name at the international level. We're going to hear this story. His origins are in the parish of St. Anne. He went to that school all the way up in the hills of Claremont called Fern Court School of Novlin Williams Mills. Yes. So we'll be hearing this morning from Mr. Oret Prendergast. They call him Fat Al. They have a next name that I don't even know how to pronounce. I'll leave that up to him. Welcome to all of you. Kevin Williams, blessed up. Cashew Red, Owen in the building, and everyone else. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports to you, and welcome Mr. Oret Prendergast. He's here in live and in living colors. How you doing, my friend?
Good. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to have you, man.
Thanks, boss.
Yes. All right. Yeah, man. So let's begin. I mean, tell the people about you. Maybe a lot of persons in Jamaica may be saying, "Who is this? We have never heard about this man. Where you find this man from? Is he really even a footballer? Come on, get some real footballers that we know out there." So today, I want you to let them know that you're not no ordinary pion footballer, but you made it big time. But begin by telling them where it all started for you, and where in Jamaica you're from, and where you went to school and all that. Go ahead.
All right, to each and everyone. I was born in St. Anne's Bay, St. Anne. I grew up in Discovery Bay. I left down there when I was 14. However, I went to Fern Court. And since going to Fern Court from 8th grade, I was called up to the DeCosta Cup team. I made the DeCosta Cup team going into 9th grade, and then that's when I left. We made it to the finals. I think it was Courts, the league before the DeCosta Cup. I think it's under 15 or some under 16.
Under 16, yes.
Yeah, we made the finals in Glenmore where we lost 2-0. Unfortunately, I was thrown off the team by Mr. Richard Campbell. So that I was cussing too much. Some players complained and so forth and so on. But that's where my school football ended in Jamaica. And then I came here and I went to Boyd Anderson, where I played all my high school ball. So yes, Jamaica, I haven't played a whole lot down here. I went back down here before I went to Austria and played with Wadada. Played a couple games, helped out Jean Grey before I left. Then I came back here. Well, no, then I went to Austria. I went to Indonesia before that, actually, in 95. I went to Petrokima in Indonesia. I played in the Winners' Cup of Asia for them. We won in Bangkok. We lost in Bangkok, came back home and won. I scored a winner there. I came back home because they wanted more time from me. And I didn't think I should give them any more based on what I've shown. I think I made a bad decision in that case. I got homesick somewhat, but
This
yeah, I
is
think I should have.
Indonesia, right?
Yeah, Indonesia, yeah.
Yeah. How long was it stay? Like in terms of months or years?
I think I was there for about 2 months.
Okay.
So I went there, joined the team. The team was it was off season. So they were in the winners, like how they have the Winners' Cup, Champions League and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Well, that was the Winners' Cup of Asia. So they had qualified from their previous season. So I was eligible to play for them. They made it to Japan, which would be the final leg. And I was invited, and I thought I was going to sign a contract. The coach said that he wanted more time. So I, being a tough head, left and came home. I think I was partly homesick. I was young. And
Came home, meaning back to the United States, right?
back to the United States.
Yes.
Yes. But here I was just playing for Lauderdale Lions, which is not a professional team, but we were on a good level of football. We came down a few times and played against Reno and those teams. Then when I came back here, I started playing for the Florida Strikers. And that's when everything really exploded. I was the leading goal scorer in the United States, all the leagues.
In what league was?
I was playing in the second division at the time. So you had the MLS,
right?
And then you had the second division at that time.
It was called the second division.
Yeah, it was the second division. I think they were called USL.
Okay.
Yeah, USL. Yeah, USL Pro League. So it was actually the league below MLS.
Okay.
And I did very well there. I got the most points, most assists, most goals for the season, and I got MVP for that. That's when I signed with Austria. And then the MLS draft me also. Me and Tyrone, because me and Tyrone Marshall played. He came up under me at Boyd Anderson, him and Peter Marshall. So at that time, me and him was talking a lot, and he was called to the combine as well. But I had already signed in Austria, so I didn't get to go to the combine.
So you would have gone to the MLS because you would have been drafted, but you had already signed a contract with the club in Austria.
Yeah, with DSV Leoben.
Okay.
So the I believe the combine was like around the 20th or something like that, and I had to be in Austria that same week. So I wasn't able to even go to the combine. But yes, I was called up for it, and then that's when I left and I went to Austria. Stayed there for 3 years, and then I came back.
So what were the three? Tell us about the 3 years in Austria.
Well, the first year was very tough. Because
firstly, how old were you when you got to Austria?
I was 26, I believe, yeah. 26, let's see, 98. Yeah, 26.
Okay.
Yeah. It was tough. It was a different game over there, a different style, very rugged, straightforward game. So it was kind of tough the first year, but after that I got more into the system over there and felt better. And I was trying to move from that club after a couple of years, but unfortunately they wouldn't sell me for what I was worth. They were trying to get a lot more, and that was part of the reason I left, because you're trying to sell me for 2 or 3 times what I'm worth. You're not trying to get rid of me, and I wanted to leave, and that's how I ended up back here. William Wilson, a friend of mine, actually made a phone call down there for a tryout for the national team, and he told him about me, and Mr. Reed told me to come, and that's when I went back down there. You came
back to Jamaica?
Yes, in 2001 I was there
to try out for the Reggae Boys.
Yes, and when I got there, I think it was Oliveira was the coach, and he said that he didn't know anything about me and so forth and so on, even though he's got my resume and clippings and stuff. He said just to stay there and train with Hazard at the time, and then he will let me know. And I was with Hazard for about 3 weeks to a month, and then he called me up. I got a phone call at practice. The guy came on the field and put the coach for the Jamaican team on the phone, and he said to show up Friday. We had a game in Maypen, and I got hurt. So that's where everything went south. So I spent another 3 weeks or so in Jamaica trying to get treatment on my knee, and it wasn't getting any better. So I came back to the US, and then Mr. Reed called me about I'd say 2-3 months later to see if I'm ready to come back. And I told him I wasn't coming back. And I think that was still another bad move. But yeah, I didn't think that when I was there, I didn't think that I was dealt with properly also. And I just didn't come back.
Okay. Whoa. So when did you play for now the Minnesota? You played for Minnesota Thunder?
Yes. So after when I came back from the injury, I got in touch with the Metro Stars, and I went for a tryout in New York, and they automatically tell me just to come to the training camp in Bradenton, Florida. So I ended up going to the training camp, and my first practice game, I pulled a quad, and they had me there for a while, and then they offered me to go to Minnesota. Minnesota offered to take me, even though I was injured. And then once I'm good, I can move back up to the Metro Stars. That was the agreement. The coach had got fired, I think, about 2 games into that season. I don't know if you know Fana Griffiths. Fana Griffiths was there that time. Yeah, so we were there together. And then that's when I went to Minnesota now, and I signed with Minnesota for the year. And I just stayed there for the year with Minnesota. That's how I ended up in Minnesota.
Oh, so for 1 year you played in Minnesota. I mean, what was...
Yeah.
I mean, in Austria, let's go back to Austria a little bit. What was your goal scoring record? Because you play as a forward, right?
Yes, forward, yeah.
Right. What was your goal scoring record in Austria?
I was never the leading goal scorer there.
Okay.
But the closest I came was second.
Okay.
My second season. The actual goal numbers, I don't remember the actual numbers.
Yeah, man, that's fine.
Right
That's
now.
fine.
But yeah, I was always whichever league I played in, even in Minnesota. I think I have a record up there for most assists too, up there in Minnesota, me and the Lagos brother. But yeah, I've always been close to, if not the leading scorer, always been close to leading scorer wherever I play.
Okay. All right. So I know we're going forward and back with, right? But let's work with it. You also spoke about you and Tyrone Marshall being at what's the name of the school?
Boyd Anderson High School.
Boyd Anderson High School.
Yeah.
Because at that time Tyrone Marshall was playing as a center forward. He wasn't a defender. Or he was a
right, correct.
Right. Okay.
Right.
So I mean, how many goals did you score? Because Tyrone was scoring a lot of goals, I know, there and also in college. But yeah.
Yeah, so when Tyrone came to Boyd Anderson, I was on the way out.
Oh.
So when he came, he wasn't playing when I was playing. When he came, he was in school, but he wasn't playing. So his dad, Granny Marshall, used to watch me play for Lauderdale Lions. Okay. And that's how I got to meet Tyrone and Peter. So when I was leaving, I was actually guiding them into the team where Lenny Taylor was the coach. So I went back there after
Lenny
I graduated.
Taylor was the coach?
Yes.
Okay, the great Lenny Taylor. Yes.
Yeah, man. So Tyrone and so Tyrone used to play with us with the men's team at Lauderdale Lions. That's where me and him play most of the football. I don't think I've played one game with him at Boyd Anderson. But we played a lot in Lauderdale.
Yeah. You also said you didn't like how you were treated when you came for the national tryout, though you were invited by Mr. Reed, right? I mean, how difficult it is playing in Austria, playing in America, for persons to get into the Jamaica team. Because every time, well, let me say, on most occasions, let me not say every time, but on most occasions, when I speak to persons who play soccer in America, there always seem to be a difficulty in breaking into the Jamaica national setup at any level. I'm talking from youth, and even today, I think that it still persists. What are the reasons you think that contribute to that happening?
I cannot tell you the reason that's contributing to that. What I can give you is what I think um, would make more sense to get it better. Because I don't know if it's because the Jamaican environment don't pay attention to overseas as much. But if you know Jamaicans, we are full of pride. We are very patriotic. So we tend to look at home a lot more because it's a national program. But if you look at big clubs, big countries rather, like Brazil and all, 90% of their players are playing overseas. So what I think Jamaica should do, or why it's so difficult for us, is because they're looking in Jamaica first, and then they go to England. That's what I think. Now, when Samois was there, Samois went to even some corner leagues to look at players. I think Jamaica need to look everywhere and sort out every grounds they can to find players, because the national team, I think, is a broad what's the word I'm looking for? It's they have endless ways to look for players. They in other words, they want to be the best of the best. So don't just settle for who you know or who somebody else know. For example, when I was playing in Lauderdale Lions, there was a few players of mine, a friend of mine, that was called to the program in Jamaica, and they could not. If Lauderdale Lions team is being picked, I am one of the first names is going to be called, and these players were not even close, but they were called for tryouts. It's because they knew people in the position.
Okay. So if you have persons in the quote unquote system, it's easier for you to get in the.
Yes. So it's a system. If you're in the system, then, or you know somebody that's in the system, then you would get the opportunity to be looked at. Right?
Yeah.
So Jamaica right now is behind as far as a system of bringing players up to that level. And if you have that system, then you don't have to look outside too much, but you will find one and two outside you bring in. But once you have that system to build the players from their young, then you don't have to look outside too much, because you're the ones that actually grooming these players up. So from their 5 years old and up, you're grooming them. And if we were doing that when we got to World Cup in '98, I tell you right now, Jamaica would already been qualified for the World Cup, because there are players right now that's of the age that they could be playing now, that were not groomed properly, and they were born with good skills, natural skills, but they weren't groomed. So either they're missing discipline or train or work ethic or something that stifles that actual ability that they were born with. And I was not one of those players either that was born with that natural ability, but I worked very hard to get where, and I was never a believer that I was good enough, because I always put a national team to a very high level. However, when I start playing amongst players like Anthony Corbett and Hector Wright, playing with them, and they're the same ones who are saying, how you never, Freddie Butler, how you never played, and this is why they're so interested in my stories, because they've seen what I've done. And Jamaica miss out on players like myself, and still missing out on players that's not in Jamaica that they can reach.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That there, because when I think about you and I hear the stories, everybody asks the question, like, how come you never played for Jamaica? So let's say you're a late bloomer, because part of the issue, I think, is that because you weren't a stand out in, say, Jamaica high school football. You didn't play in the Premier League, so nobody really knows you. All right? Let's be real.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
in the
yeah.
United States, and at that time, it wasn't a major footballing market. Then you go to a league that is in Austria. That is also, some people didn't know that Austria is different from Australia until
Yes,
probably recently. All right.
correct.
All right. So you're there. So how much of that is the federation job, and how much of that is the player and his representative, whether that be agent or management, to keep him in the eyes of the people? Because there are other players who are probably out there now in Serbia, in Austria, in Holland,
Finland. Yeah.
Finland, who can
Mhm.
represent Jamaica. Whose job is it? Is it the JFF that should find them, or their agents and representative team management should keep them in a way in the eyes of the public, so that they are known commodities in the footballing landscape?
Yeah, it's both, but as far as the player, it is upon the player as well to get himself out there for the federation to see and to say, this player, you know, and so this is how I got there in the first place, because I was
All right, we go see if we can fix. I think we're back, so let's see if we fix the audio. You're back with us?
Hello,
Yeah, you hearing me?
I'm hearing you, but very low. Let me see.
All right, you can just sign out and sign back in. Just sign out and sign back in. All right. All right. Yeah, man. Respect. Welcome to everyone in the comment section. Neo Sovereign, bless up. Dre, any weather. How above you? One view. How above you? 3, Mount Pleasant, Neil. Bless up, Dre, any weather. Sports. Owen, Neo Sovereign. Bless up, man. Loud Music Entertainment says we need the best of the best to represent. Then he says, Jamaica football is breaking. We all feel the pain. It's hurtful not to see Jamaica qualify for the World Cup. And Pesa says, the best players must represent Jamaica, local and overseas born, on merit, no favoritism by the coach. Bless up Aldi and Blacker Bailey, Coach Minzy in the building. And then we have Unseen Sports said, there. Yes, go ahead. So you are saying that there it's twofold. I think you're at that point. The players have a duty to, and but you said but. So I don't know where the but was going to lead to.
Yeah, so the players, they have their duty to put themselves out. Just like you're trying to get to a bigger club, right? You're gonna market yourself, you're gonna play well, all of that. But also the federation need to have they need to have people in position to search out talent as well, right? I was brought to Mr. Reed by, like my friend William, and that's how they knew about me. And when I went there,
before that, nobody in Jamaica knew that you were playing in Austria.
no, other than when I played with Wadada, all the players, them Tati Brown and Twinny Bog, and I played with them at Wadada, and they knew I was leaving, so they knew. But as far as nobody didn't really know like that.
Okay, so when you came, what was, because you said that the coach at the time was Clovis.
Yeah.
Said that he didn't know you, though you said he sent. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess when the stuff I was sending down was going to Mr. Reed. I don't know how much he saw, but when I went there, one of his reasons why I couldn't go in right away to the camp was that he doesn't really know. I said, just ask Tyrone. I mean, look at my clippings.
Tyrone was in the team at this time.
Tyrone was there. And the first training I went to, Davis was just in the program too. And the first training I went to, he was playing for them, and he came to training. And after the training, he must say, yo, coming up at camp? And I must say, you need to do that thing. And that's when I realized that it's not that you're not qualified, but it's what they know. So like you said, it's twofold. The player has to market himself, yes. And I believe if I was believing that I could have from then, I would have probably went when the other guys went from Lions team. But I didn't think I was good enough to play. But I know I was better than who was going. So I always put my national team.
Without calling any names, right? So you are at Lauderdale, Fort Lauderdale.
Lauderdale Lions.
Lauderdale Lions.
That was Lauderdale Lions. Yeah.
Right, Lauderdale Lions. Players from Lauderdale Lions were being called to the national program.
Yes.
You were a starter, top scorer at Lauderdale Lions, and those players were being called. So how did they know those players on the same team that you're on and not know you?
Because they know those players from Jamaica. So they, like you said, the program.
So their players would have played in Jamaica.
They played in Jamaica in schoolboy football, and then they know of those players. So they were calling based on that.
Okay, I see. You see, this is bringing something to light because, and no time things and times have changed. So maybe we don't have this. Well, I don't want to say we don't have this problem, but I don't know if it is as major now as it was then, because it's easier. But I would because you're also at high school doing well, which means during those times you were not part of the under 17, under 20, or under 23 radar any at all.
No.
Oh, all right. Is it that because
part of that problem?
Yeah.
Part of that problem too, Full disclosure, part of that problem too. I couldn't travel at the time either, so I was not interested in
representing Jamaica at that time.
Right, because I couldn't travel down there.
You couldn't travel back down there. All right, because some of the times, I think there are other factors that can lead. Because what we're trying to do is really, how do we solve this? Because we can't have talent, especially when we're not qualifying for the World Cup. And you look back and you hear this story, and then you say, oh my God, but this could have been somebody in the program. We don't want to have these problems persisting in the football, where we have good talent who are not being spotted, who are not being called up, who are not being given a fair opportunity, because so many of the persons who come out of the American system in particular and come to Jamaica are treated like they are not as good as the Jamaican born players. And that, I think, is because there is an overemphasis on using local players more so than using the best players.
Yeah. And I can tell you how I feel about that.
Go ahead.
And some people might not agree, but it's the reality. And my grandmother always say, the truth might hurt, but it's not a sin. And I believe Jamaica have one of the most skillful players that remind you of Brazilian players, like how Pele did talk about skill call and so forth and so on. However, if you cannot get a contract to leave Jamaica and play somewhere else, you should have the hardest time making that Jamaican national team, as far as I am concerned. If you think you're that good, get a contract somewhere else. Show me that you're that good. Play somewhere. This is what happens in a lot of countries that do not have big leagues. They play in big leagues. The players have to leave and go somewhere else, go learn different football, because what we're playing in Jamaica is not what we're gonna play when we play Brazil and
you're saying, let me make sure I get this right. You're saying that if you are, for you to make the Jamaican national team, you can't be playing in Jamaica. Because if you're that good, you need to be out of Jamaica.
Yes.
I want to make sure I understand what they said. Right?
Yes. So let me tell you like this again.
Further, because I want the people to get what you're saying. So explain it further.
All right. So I'll give you an example. I played in Austria, right? And I left Austria. When I left Austria, I still had 6 months on my contract.
Yes.
And I came back and I sat out my 6 months because I didn't want to be there anymore. So I came local. Now, if you, as a Jamaican player, playing for Harborview or whoever you're playing for, and you're that good, and it's your choice to stay home, then that is fine. But you're that good to play, so it's fine. But if you think that you are that good and you cannot get a contract overseas, then you're not good enough for the national team. Until we start put our national team that high, we're not gonna be as competitive as we should be. Look at the players we're playing against. Just pick the clubs, the countries that we're playing against, and pick out their players, where they're playing and what they're doing versus our players. So we can use Jamaican-born players that are playing in Jamaica, but the majority should be playing somewhere else. You can live in Jamaica and do everything in Jamaica, but you should be able to play somewhere else where you get different environment, different football, more experience, different kind of discipline, all of that stuff. Or else we're not gonna get any better.
Okay. So all right. So recently they had a youngster who broke into the national team, Richard King. And many people say that he's good. You're saying that if you're that good, it's time for you to leave Jamaica, because you can't stay in Jamaica and stay in the national team, because the standard for selection in the national team should be so high that you have to play at a higher level than the local league to make the national team. I like that idea, and I think that is something that we need to really consider. The local league, the standard of the local league, though it's getting better, is not high enough for you to cement a place in the national team. So, yeah, you can break into it, but you can't stay here. If you're that good.
Exactly.
All right. But what about the players who say, well, we don't have any agent representation, and, we don't want to go to certain leagues? Because they could say, listen, we probably get calls to go to MLS or to go to some local ordinary leagues. We don't want to go to those leagues. We want to go to top leagues, and that is why we're staying. What would you say to those players?
Okay, so each person is going to be different, right? They're going to have their different issues. Some people just cannot leave Jamaica unless it's really, really big. Because when they start adding up certain things, it's not worth it, right? Yeah. Because if you can make a certain amount of money in Jamaica and you have certain things going on down there, I wouldn't come play up here in the USL. I wouldn't. So, but at least I would know for a fact that I can get contracts in those leagues. Jamaica would know that. So that would be a decision. But here's the next thing to that now. Do I want to be comfortable where I'm at? Or do I want to expand, make more money, play bigger football? If you want to do that, then and you say you don't want to play in the USL, then either you get better and play in a bigger club, or if you're good enough already, you should be able to find a bigger club. Clubs always looking players. You don't have to be the US, you don't have to be England. It can be, just like I say, it can be Belgium. It can be just places that their football is recognized, where you can leave Jamaica and play at a top level for a different type of game. You need that in the international level.
Yeah, I think you're making a very good point, that because of the standard of the football in Jamaica, I do agree with you that a player should not believe that I can get into my national team playing this level football, and even if I do, I'm going to get out of this football very soon. So let me just get some of the comments, because I think there are some good comments. See as many as them I can get. Owen says that there should be a standard, is what he's saying, which is he's saying that you are saying that there should be a standard. And then Richard Stewart says true talks are alright. The national team should be the holy, I think that should be grail. Meaning the standard for the national team should be so high, because I agree with you. I think even a player, if you are in, for example, the local league for 6, 7, 8 years and you can't move, how are you making the national team? If you're in the USL for 6, 7, 8 years and you can't move, how are you making the national team? Is that the standard that we want our national team to be at? And I'm not knocking those leagues, because they have their everything has its place. But just like a plant, certain plants you have to transplant them. Sometimes when you get to a certain level, you need to be transplanted. And if you're not transplanting, then the question is, are you really that good? Right? But Rob Smith is saying that I think age should matter. 18 to 21 and playing well, you can get a look in. He's saying that if you're between 18, say 17 to 20, let me put that 20, 17 to 20, you can get a look in the national team. You can get a look in if you're playing locally. But I think what you're saying is that you have to move though. You can't be stuck in the national team, right? In the local football. Get a move. You hearing me all right?
Yeah, the feed is going in and out.
All right, so I'm saying to you, all right, you're hearing me now?
Yeah, I hearing you what is in and out. So I hear exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
All right. No, what this person is saying is that they think the age should matter. Meaning 18 to 21, you can get a look in if you're playing. If you're at that age and you're playing locally. I'm even changing that number to 17 to 20. But I still agree with your point that at some point, you need to be transplanted to a bigger place, a bigger club. That's how you football. The national team standard of selection needs to improve. Like where we getting the players from matters. Because we're not going to play against players playing at the JPL level. We're playing against players playing at the EPL and La Liga level.
Yes.
Yeah.
So age does matter. And this is what I was saying earlier. If we started earlier, right? If we started earlier with the players, start scouting them from early and start building them. This is what we need to have down there. I know it takes money and it takes people that's not willing to rob the system. We need to start getting players from their young, 5, 6, 7-year-old and bring them up through the system. So we then a lot of people in Jamaica would say, why we need to use Jamaica? You can say it then, because these are players that we as the federation have groomed and bred to this age of 16 and 17, where we start to introduce them into the men's national program now to actually get 1 and 2 caps here to see, and then eventually what's going to come out of that is
think we're having some disruption with the internet feed from our guest side. So let's see if go ahead.
So back to that. So what I'm saying is, as far as the youth, if we can start building them within the federation, so we have different age groups where we bring them through that coaching line right up to where we think that they're ready to start 1 and 2 of them into the program. Now, like I said, once they start playing 1 and 2 games now, this is where they're being sold. Because this is where a club like Chelsea or whoever are going to see them and say, oh, this we can use. They bring him in and all of a sudden now they're in the youth program in Chelsea and then they're in the men's team and then they're coming to Jamaica. And that's how we have to do it.
Yeah. I see Dre Anyway that Sports says, Mr. Orrit, what about these players leaving to go play USL 1? is that a better league than the JPL in your opinion? So you leave from the Jamaica Premier League to go and play in USL 1, which is the league below the USL Championship.
Yeah. So the only reason I would think that it would be better for them is more exposure. Because if they're playing in that one below the USL, then they're going to be seen by USL, and then they're going to be seen by MLS. And you never know where that might take you. So if you're playing in Jamaica, you're not seen as much as, because where are you going to go from the top league in Jamaica? Where are you going to go from there? You know what I mean? We would need to start having clubs actually flying down to Jamaica to look for players. You have clubs flying to Africa. When I was in Austria, you know, at least once or twice a month, you know, you see African players coming to the club trying out and stuff, you know. You have people actually flying down there looking for these players. Do we have clubs flying to Jamaica looking for players down there? That's what we need if we're going to think that the league down there can propel us to you want the opportunities. And I think in this case, there are more opportunities here. Even if it's on a lower level, there's still more opportunities here than the big league in Jamaica. That's just my opinion. No, I'm not taking anything away from the big league down there, you know, because listen, there are many players down there that are better than me by far. So it's not a dispute whether it's not an easy league. Like I said, I played a few games, not a whole lot down there, and I know it's not easy. However, we're talking about a different type of football, different environment, different coaching, different discipline. You understand? This is what makes you even better. And I think our standard for our national team is lower than we actually think it is. We are putting it lower than we think it is because a lot of time we think that we are better than we are as Jamaican players, because we see it on that level. And then when we play against some teams now, we say, oh boy, oh, Lord have mercy. Boy, we look bad this game. No. If you play against infant school kids, you're going to look good if you're in a primary school. But when time you go play against college, you're not going to look so good. So that is where it is. That is where it is. We have the talent. We have Jamaicans, and I know that for a fact. Them born with natural. I know a lot of them guys. I know them. And you see the talent in them. You see the skill, the dribbling skill and all them things there. You see it. However, you have to can groom that, mold that, and make it even better. When them think them for dribble 5 times, at that time I really 1 time them for dribble, or don't dribble at all. These are the things we need to learn. I remember the coach said to me, all right, you're not skillful or technical, you know, until you know when you have to make the 1-touch pass instead of control. When you have to control instead of make the one. That's the real skill. When you take it and beat 2, that's not the skill in football. So until we move away from that and get the other stuff that we need now to make us complete, we're not gonna better.
Whoa. All right. Boris Johnson says, man, is no disrespect, but the federation and some coaches have messed up a lot of teams in the past and still to date. Aiden Ariante says that is based on how the game is structured. Jamaica doesn't have a pro league, but he has to be mindful that players in Jamaica can be as good as pro players. I think he's saying that they can be, but can that happen in Jamaica? In the present structure of the league, can that happen in Jamaica? But given, and this is what he's saying, at a certain time, you have to now move, because that is where you're going to learn other things about the game that right now is not available in Jamaica. And I will say, Aiden Ariantes, that it is true that the standard for people to get into the national team has really fallen. This is your national team, you know. It should be, I think somebody said it earlier, it should be the holy grail. You understand me? It's just like when a person get into certain schools in Jamaica. Wow, you really get to Let me call one. Campion. Yo, you're bright. Like when a person hears that you get into the national team, it should be like, whoa. The national team shouldn't be something where, yeah man, everybody walk around a national. It should be a rare commodity. That's how high I think the standard, which is what I think Owen is saying. Tennessee says, oh, Owen, exactly. If you're playing in the USL and JPL and still making the national, you don't want to leave. You will have no ambition to go forward. So his point is this: if you're playing in the JPL and you're getting called up, if you're playing in the USL and USL 1 and you consistently get called, why would you want to leave those leagues? Yeah, but
you still want to be better though. Because I don't know if a lot of people know really and truly how much money you make playing for Jamaica. You don't really make no money playing for Jamaica, you know. So if you really want to better your life, you wouldn't be thinking about the national team on a business aspect or a career. The national team is supposed to be pride and joy. When I was playing in Austria, we had up to 5 players on our team that get called up for the national team. Sometimes they don't, sometimes. But whenever I go to practice and I see a demeanor on a certain player that normally he's like this or like, and then it just changed, I know he's called up. I can see it. I say, yeah, you get called up, eh? And say, yeah. His mentality change, his training change, his whole mannerism change, everything change, because this is supposed to be an honor and privilege to represent your country. I don't even think you should get paid to represent your country. I think you should be well taken care of. In other words, you should be put up well, you should be fed well, you should be treated well, as if you're very important. You shouldn't be treated like you're playing at the JPL then, right? But everybody feel different. So if them feel like them should make a money, then that's fine. That's neither here nor there. But it should be an honor and a privilege to play for Jamaica. How do you get to that honor and privilege? You should be on top of your game. You should be, if it's 22 players, you should be the 22 best players Jamaica can find right now. Not 10 and then the other 12 are because me know this man. No, it don't work like that, brother.
Yeah, big point. I love that. Yeah, it should be adult privilege, man. Boris Johnson says nothing wrong with not playing a pro league. It is the proper development of the players from a youth stage that lacking, which is what he's saying from 5, saying this. So if we don't improve coaching and administration, I think he's saying it's not going to work, which you're saying that if from 1998 we took some 5-year-olds and we're working on them, imagine what we would have now. You understand?
Yes, man.
Tennessee Lewis said this man is talking facts. Richard Stewart says schoolboy football coaches and fans mess up the local players' ego, which is part of the problem. We make them feel like they are so big. And we say this. Freddie said that when he was a star in Jamaica in high school at Dunoon, but when he went overseas, he realized that, listen, you really don't know football.
Yeah. As soon as I see a prospect in the neighborhood, because I used to get that too. Because like I said, I was called up to the Costa Cup team from 8th grade. And when I go home and stuff, I remember one game I scored 4 goals and I go home and I said, Dad, I scored 4 today. And said, self-praise is no recommendation. You hear me, son? And I think that's why I never thought I was good enough to even try for Jamaica national team. But I said that to say this. Once you see a prospect in the neighborhood that you're from, you start big them up instead of letting them know that you have the potential. No man, them not say, yo, them man they good, yo, that you them bad, yo, that you if you play for Jamaica, man, him wicked and him thing and no, him can go into the program to develop because he have the potential, but him not ready. But you see. Some man all come in gun and a force coach to play them players and all them things. If them that good, you're not supposed to go in on gun, brother. That's how me look on it. And that's what hurt a lot of Jamaican stuff. But like a lot of people are saying, the coaching and the administration, that's the problem, brother. Yeah, man. If we know we get some money in a 98, we could have started a nice little program. If we did really want Jamaica reach somewhere, That's where we should have started the program. Right there, so. And now we're gonna benefit. Me I tell you, we're on the World Cup. 100% we're on the World Cup. And we're gonna use most of the players them that's born and played in Jamaica would be using. Because we're gonna groom them there. And guess what? We'd get more money down there. Because all you would do is that players that are coming up well, clubs are gonna want you just send them off. The money come back into the system. But a lot of people just want for them pockets. So the system is suffering. So we can still do it. It's not late. We just have to start somewhere. We just have to get honest people who's gonna work for their living and not rob. So if they might get 100 grand a month for do the job, them take 100 grand. If a program make $1 million, they don't get nothing out of the $1 million other than the 100. So the other 900 go to the program. Build these kids. We have good kids coming up, and a lot of them are going to violence and those things because they don't have this program. I know. I remember when I played against Reno in 95, 91. There had a little youth them called John Barnes. And I look at this little youth and I say,
man, I know Johnny Barnes, yeah.
Me give him football boots that game.
Yeah.
Me give him for score free kick. We tied them 1-1 that game.
Yeah,
me give him football boots. Me say little youth.
I know
say little youth.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And I don't know where those players are. And he had the potential, I'm telling you.
He's not even in the system. John Barnes, I'll tell him. I would say that he never lived up to 10% of his potential.
Okay. Wasted talent. We have it. Yeah. Jamaican can play Brazilian football, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We have the potential of doing it.
Kareem
but we have to build on it.
Yeah, Kareem Grant is saying true talk. The best players must be selected. And then Ariante says first touch is one of the most essential tools to succeed in football. Chris Wayne says, Management, your guess is on point. You're interviewing another winner. Sharing some knowledgeable info. Neo says, seem like administrative issues, special interest, and failure of commitment often impact our team selection. Sometimes we get some of the what lefts. I suspect the connections. What I would say is that recently I heard somebody doing an interview, and they said they knew when they went to certain teams. So this person was saying, the person was talking about the issues in the program. But in talking about the issues in the program, the person said they themselves knew that if they played for a certain team, they would be called up to the national program. So I'm saying that you can't complain about the system, because you benefited from the system by your own comments. Which is what you're saying is that if you have certain links and certain names and certain persons, you end up being a part of it at the expense of others. And then some of these same persons come out and complain that the system is unfair. But you benefited because you were called up at my expense because you had links. So because I played for Reno and say you play for some other club, you get called. I didn't call. Years after you come and you complain that the system never treated you well. But imagine me, who was left out at your expense because I could have been better than you, but because I chose to stay at a particular club, I chose to stay at Arnett, I chose to stay at Tivoli, I chose to stay at Waterhouse. I never got called. You went to some other club and you got called. So you shouldn't come and complain about the system because you benefited from the corruption of the system. Let me get this one from Rob. Rob says, I hate when people talk like this. It's only Jamaica. Thousands of English wonder kids are bagging grocery right now. There is 35-year-old in Argentina telling his kids when he was better than Messi. All right. Hey, Rob Simit, you make a very good point, Rob Simit. But we can only, the truth is what Oret is doing, what I am doing, and what others are doing, Rob, is we have to speak in context of Jamaica. So we can't we can't be including England and Argentina and Brazil. We're talking about Jamaica's football. We're talking about the experience in Jamaica. So it's going to sound very Jamaican because we are Jamaicans. And this is someone who played in the Austrian top flight and had to basically prove himself playing in the local league. Can you imagine that you're coming from the pro league and you have to come and prove yourself in an amateur setting to be called up to a national team? I want you to understand, Rob Smith, because that is the bigger issue in all of this, that we had somebody who was playing in Europe when few Jamaicans were in Europe. He comes to Jamaica and he's told that he has to play in the local Premier League to see if he's good enough to play for the national team. Rob Smith, whether this happening anywhere else, the system has to be better. And I think that is what Oret is saying. Going ahead, we have to make and create a better system for how we select players, and the level at the national team must be so high that someone like Oret says, as good as he was, thinks that I'm still not good enough to make the national team. That's how high the standard should always be. And I think we had that. If you go back to in the 1980s, when you had so many, you had so many goalkeepers and stuff, and some of them couldn't get in all across Jamaica. So many defenders, and Tarty Brown was getting their game. Nobody could replace him. You had Linval Pala Wilson, who was there. You had so many, you understand me? You had so many players. The standard has to be raised again. So it is difficult for players to get into the national program. Right? I don't know if you want to comment, but and that is on the screen. Or it says, I hate when people talk like this. It's only Jamaica. Thousands of English wonder kids are bagging grocery right now. There is a 35-year-old in Argentina telling this kid when he was better than Messi. So yeah.
Oh, you're saying if I want to comment?
Yeah, if you want to comment on that.
Well, I mean, we're talking about Jamaica, right? We're trying to make Jamaica better, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is why I'm talking about Jamaica. No, I don't really too care about England, no, because I'm not English. I care about Jamaica, and I want Jamaica football to be better. Now, like I said before, my grandmother did tell me, the truth may be an offense, but it's not a sin. So, like I said before I start talking, some people might get offended, but it's just a fact. Right? We just need to put these systems in place and it will help Jamaica. I'm not saying anywhere else is perfect, but I'm trying to give my side of what I think could make it better. I might not be right all the time, but this is just my view and this is why I'm here. So I'm sorry if I offend anybody or they feel like I'm putting down Jamaica. I am not. I have to put down Jamaica for it to build up so we understand how far we are in this football thing. We're not playing no football, you know. We're not playing no kind of football. If you look at complete football, we're not playing it. We can't get the ball and knock it out and bring it back round from the right side. If it's not on, you bring it back and go to the left side and go to the middle.
Unless you're the reggae girls.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, really, come on. And then we don't feel, I always say if a female can do this, me can do it. Me always feel that way. If you can do it as a female, I can. And we are saying that our girls now are better than our guys. Maybe not, but that's what it is. That's what it's showing now.
Yeah.
So we just have to just lace up the shoes them and buckle up everything and saddle up and just start move forward for better. So it's gonna hurt. It is going to hurt. Because when a lady is pregnant, you know, she go through a whole heap, you know. But it's the joy after she have the child. You understand? And this is where we are now. We have to figure out how we can leave the money where it's supposed to be and build the program. That is part of the problem. Leave the money. If we have coaches, we have players. Like we can call out a bunch. We have Anthony Corbett, I see why he was captain in Jamaica. These are guys that I personally know and play with. I'm just saying that we can put into into certain positions if we think they're qualified and if they are willing to, into certain areas of the Jamaican football. Pay them a certain amount and build a system for not next World Cup maybe, but the following World Cup. Next World Cup we might compete, but to really go to World Cup and can say, yo, we can come out of the zone. You cannot take 3 and 6 from Argentina and them team for that, brother. That Ecuador and them team they're supposed to. Look for Mexico. Tell me, say Mexico have more skillful footballers than Jamaica. You tell me that. No. But you know how much Mexican play abroad too? You have all Mexican when I play in a Spanish league, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Atletico Madrid, I mean, in playing the Champions League, the captain for Mexico, Hector Herrera. I mean, a lot of, I think the goalkeeper I know is back in Mexico because he was in Portugal. But most of the Mexican players play overseas.
Yeah. So do we need agents for the players that we have in Jamaica? Is that what we need? Or are they just not ready?
Well, some of them, yes, a lot more of the younger players are going away, but no, but let me get this one. Big up, Sir Freddie says, all right, was good enough. All right, was good enough to play in Europe and played against the CONCACAF All-Star, but wasn't good enough to get a national call-up then. Go figure. Top baller and top class individual. Yeah, so our next player there, endorsing you that man was good enough to play in Europe and played amongst the CONCACAF All-Stars, but wasn't good enough to get a call up to the national team. Yeah, and then Rapsimi saying, I'm not offended by anything you say. I think we have to focus on coaching. My point, youngsters will always be hype. If we coach them properly, don't matter what a person in their community says to them. Yeah, I think he also mentioned that coaching is important. That and I think Coach Boris Johnson earlier said it about the need for proper coaching and administration is vital at this time if we want to put up something that is sustainable and long lasting. I agree with Rob to some extent. There is someone somewhere saying they got a higher score than me in an exam. That is now obsolete. Okay, brethren. So let me say it again. The idea at the end of the day, you have to speak in a Jamaican context because you're addressing Jamaica's football. All right. We have to ask ourselves though, what progress have we made? The infrastructure has not changed significantly. The quality has not improved significantly because our national team on a whole doesn't look as if it is playing better compared to even the team in 1998. So we have to ask ourselves, are we stagnant? Are we on the reverse? Or are we going ahead? And so we have to look at it. And part of the issue we must admit is that the standard for players playing in the national team, and I'm not just talking locally, because here's my position. If we're going to go up against the Mexicos, the Costa Rica, the Honduras, the Panamas, the USA, and the Canada, let's use those nations. The majority of their players are playing in top leagues. Or even if they're playing in their domestic leagues, the level of those leagues are higher than us. The bigger point that Oret is making that we should not miss is this. If you are playing locally and you are a fixture in the national team and you can't get a contract outside of Jamaica, something must be wrong somewhere. This is in the case where there was not a starting point from Euro 5 being built through a system. Number two, if you have a player playing in Europe at the highest level and he has to come to Jamaica to prove himself in the local Premier League, maybe it doesn't happen now, or in trials. I'm not talking about players playing in unknown leagues. So there are certain leagues that people don't know about and people don't know teams and stuff. I'm not talking about if you're playing in the Uzbekistan third division or you're playing in the you understand me? I'm talking about when you're playing in a top league. For you to make the national team should not be come and do a trial because you're already at the pro level. There is a reason why you're there. The other point is that we have to get to a place. I think someone said it earlier, and this is the third point. Where a player playing in the USL must realize that I am at risk of being displaced in my national team if I don't move. So you get called up. You must become now uncomfortable with staying in the USL because you know it's such a privilege to play for my country. And I'm going to be dropped if I stay at this level. I need to move up. That's the point. And we can't go around it. We can try to be cute. We can try to be nice. But that is the point. That is the point. Right? So I don't know if I've expressed your sentiments justly or it. But you can go ahead and add to it if you want.
Yeah, man, you did sum it up well. I just have one more thing to say to that too, and then I can shut up. So in the Premier League in England, right? For them to take a player from Jamaica, don't you have to have a certain amount of caps for your country to get that work permit?
Yes. Yeah, 70. Okay. I think a certain percentage of your loss. Yeah.
Okay. So why do they have a standard or a requirement for you to play in, and we as a country now don't have a standard? So what you're saying now is if you're playing in the USL and you're on the team and you're not moving up, then you should be dropped, basically. So therefore, we should have standards now. We should have requirements now that we're going to put in place.
Yeah.
To say, okay, if you're playing in a league that's rated
below a
whatever
standard,
right?
At a certain standard, yeah.
Then you can automatically get a look at. If you are playing in the USL, for example, and you are in the team, you will get a requirement what you have to do to stay in the team.
Yeah.
So they need to have those. You can't just say, oh, boy, I know that you tell man and just call him in and him start play for Jamaica and things like that.
Yeah. A great leader said this as we come to a close and put the wrap on this is that you can't expect what you don't inspect.
Right.
You can't expect what you don't inspect. And if you're going to inspect something, you have to have standard. What is the standard criteria for selection in terms of quality? All right. I mean, what level do we want to select the most of our players from? From second tier leagues, third tier leagues, amateur leagues, high school leagues, right? And what quantity of our players come from those settings? Because you can go and say, listen, select the best players in high school. Will they be able to compete at that level? You can't expect what you don't inspect. And for you to inspect anything, there has to be standards. There has to be some standards that it is measured by. Yep. So Lloyd O'Connor says, I remember a Prendergast playing for Fort Lauderdale Strikers in the early to mid 90s. I'm not sure if it was this player, but he was quite good. Yes, Lloyd O'Connor. This is I Am Sure Sports. So if you say it is this player. It is the same Prendergast. He also came and played for Walladan for in a couple of games, and he tried to play it for a team in Senton in a couple of games, but he wasn't good enough. I came and took his game when I came back. You understand?
Yeah. They stopped calling me.
Yeah, they stopped finding me into Jamaica when I arrived. Paul Ford said that is what we have we have been doing, and then we select all English player last minute. There you go. Cause you don't have any standard. That is why. And I'm not listen. And I'm not advocating. Listen, I'm not advocating for players from any particular place. If you're good enough, you're old enough, right, to be in the team. But there has to be some standard. It's going to be very difficult for Jamaica to compete with top teams if your players are not playing in top leagues. Because a lot of football now is not what is on the field, it is the off the field knowledge of the game that only happen in certain environments. And you have to be in environment that is conducive to you expanding your knowledge of the game. We are improving, but we are not at that place. Until the product locally is at that standard, I think we need to widen our scope in terms of where we select from and who we select to represent. And people must know that, listen, this is an honor and a privilege to represent the national team. Whether you're born locally or born overseas, when you put on that national jersey, you're supposed to shed tears of joy and just, whoa, honor, I get to wear the black, green, and gold. Yep. Yeah, man. Your time, anything you want to say in closing to all the persons listening and watching and joining in the comment section? All right.
Yeah, well, I just want to tell everyone thank you for the time that they put in to even listen to the conversation, because time is valuable. And the fact that you're listening, that means that you're interested in the betterment of Jamaican football. And so just if we can all come together and figure out what can make it move better forward, then that's the right thing. And so the fact that we're doing this, that we're doing now, I appreciate it, and I appreciate being on. And thanks a lot for hearing my side of the story. And may God bless everyone.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. Like I said, sometimes there are these names out there that many don't know. And Jamaica has not just started producing quality players who play at the highest level, but it's just that so many of the stories are unknown, they're untold, and they're unheard. So I'm glad that you came on to share, like I said, your story. Really, really appreciate your time. Certainly a great privilege to have you on. Respect. We will see each other in a couple of months up in the place up there. You understand me? So looking forward to that, but blessings, you take care. And you and your family until we meet again. All right?
Yeah, man. Enough respect and love.
Yeah, man. Bless up. Yes, people. Well, there you have it. Great interview. Wonderful time. Thank you for your participation in the process. You have helped to make this what it is. Your participation, your involvement, your comments. And listen, I want you to know this. It is okay, please hear me. It is okay for us to have differing opinions. Nothing is wrong with that. You have a right to interpret and understand things the way you do. You have a right to be right, and you have a right to be wrong. All of us. All right? You have a right to be right, you have a right to be wrong. And we have to respect that and have conversations. And so that's what I appreciate about the comment section, that we can have dialogue where we disagree and remain respectful to each other. Wonderful story from Prendergast. Played in Austria. Go and check it out. I mean, but just never got the chance. Had to prove himself before he could get into the national team. He was told that to play at the national level, he had to play locally. Blessed, things have changed. But also want you to know that this evening at 8:30 Jamaican time, let's put it like that, we'll be having Shavar Thomas, Woolmarian, captain of Jamaica U teams, captain of the Jamaica senior team, many years in MLS. I mean, brilliant coach right now. Shavar Thomas will be on this evening. All right. And so please ensure you come on. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a fantastic one. I want you to join. Prepare your questions for him. Also play that real Mona. We're going to hear the stories of his journey. Believe me, it's going to be awesome. I see some almost overrated. Let me just blessed love manage, man. I'm late for this one. So true. We all have. All right. Yeah, man. Bless up Marlon Morrison. Chris Simmons saying, Ishmael, can we think about our chances in the U20s? First, I need to see the squad. First. But you know that the U20s, the squad has been, the whole selection process has changed. So the pro players will be added to a final 35 before, and that's going to be the camp, and out of that they select the last 20. So a lot of the professional players will not need to come for a camp, because right now the under 17 females are in camp for their tournament that begins next week, where they play against Canada, Dominica, Bermuda, and I forgot the next nation. So under 17 girls are in camp now. Then the boys will come in. So a lot of the players who are from overseas, you will see them coming in to the final 35, and right before they leave, they will select 25. So that's what's happening with the U20s and the U17. Right now with the regular girls, the draw date for the final round will be Tuesday the 19th, and we'll be doing a show to look at the draw, who will be in our zone. And like I said last night, watch that video. There are at least one Liverpool player, one Chelsea player to come into the team, a Crystal Palace player, and then at least 3 other players who have been out will be back. So the team will be a lot stronger and a lot better going ahead. All right. Thank you so much. Remember, please, if you have not yet subscribed. If you have not yet hit the like button, go ahead and do that as well. Join me again, like I said, 8:30 tonight, when Shavar Thomas will be on with us, sharing his story and his journey. Have a blessed day. I am Manningsman. This is I Am Sure Sports, and we are over and out.
Yo, watch your bad dog, SK New Erdis, the body out there, Sniper King I represent for I Am Sure Sports. You get to me, I say, when you want the latest news and sports and updates and all of that, check out I Am Sure Sports. You know the thing goes in. Remember, cover the whole island. Remember Kingston, Westmoreland, Galchester, Ocho-Race, Galtigo Bay, everywhere. I Am Sure Sports, check it out for the latest news and latest updates. Sniper King I represent. Where them feel like, yeah, someone on for the food from young, from where they knee height. I Am Sure Sports. Yeah, dog.